Your sexuality is not the problem, but you having a problem with your sexuality is the problem. My name is Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. I'm here to speak about sexuality, but specifically homosexuality. If you identify as gay or lesbian, this message is for you. But if you are same sex attracted, that can be anyone who's gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, or queer, you are also included in this conversation that I'm going to discuss regarding sexuality. If you're like me, you probably live in a heteronormative society where everywhere you go, you see heterosexual people represented, either on media, social media. You can be driving down the street or on the freeway and see a billboard with heterosexual people just walking around in the mall, going to the store. You see heterosexual couples. But you don't often hear people talk about gay or lesbian people in society. Why is that? Why is no one talking about gay and lesbian people? Well, even though it's not really discussed, there's still many people who don't feel comfortable talking about gay and lesbian people in an everyday conversation. Most people's conversation is surrounded by heterosexual topics. People automatically assume most people are heterosexual. So when they get in a discussion, they're going to talk like heterosexuals. If you're gay or lesbian, most of the times it's like we're invisible and we kind of sit back and listen and just observe because we don't always feel like we can share with people about who we are, how we identify, because we don't know how the people will respond or react. And depending on the situation you're in, you may be at work and they say at work you're not really supposed to talk about certain topics, and sex and sexuality is one of those topics. However, you still find yourself in the break room, maybe in the cafeteria, or maybe at your workstation, and there are heterosexual people talking about their sex life. So not everybody obeys the rules. Now, there are always going to be exceptions where there's gay or lesbian people present and they're talking about their relationships with their same sex partner. Absolutely, that goes on. I'm just saying that it's not common. Why is it not common? Well, because we live in a heterosexual society where most people identify as heterosexual. And you might say, well, how can you prove that most people identify as heterosexual? Well, the simple answer to that is you don't hear about many people saying they identify as gay or lesbian. If you can remember maybe the last 5 people, you can just count it on one hand that you know personally, they may be heterosexual. It's a good chance the majority of them are heterosexual. You may count one or two who's gay or lesbian, but that's just the way it goes. And then also, every 10 years, there's a Census Bureau where they take a survey of how many people are in a household. That way, they know how many people are in the world. Not everybody fills out those applications, and some people fabricate the information. But they generally say 10% of the population identifies as gay or lesbian, although I believe there is more. And I believe there's more people in the world who are gay or lesbian or same sex attracted. It's just that it's not common for people to talk about their same sex sexuality or their homosexuality. The reasons for that vary. It could be because maybe they're still in the closet. Maybe they're on the down low. Maybe they're discreet. Maybe they don't feel the necessary need to say that they're gay or lesbian. Maybe they think that if they tell anyone who they are as a gay or lesbian person, then they will be discriminated against. However, that does not mean that gay or lesbian people do not exist, because we do exist. And our sexuality is important. But because we face discrimination and because we're sometimes considered a non factor to the general public, it can cause you maybe to hide your sexuality, or if you're not hiding your sexuality, you kind of keep quiet about it, you downplay it, you even may sometimes cause people to think that you're heterosexual. Maybe in a discussion they ask you if you're married. If you're married, you may answer yes, but you don't go any further. You don't have any pictures on your desk of you and your same sex partner. If you're a male, you have a husband. If you're a female, you have a wife. So people are nosy. Sometimes people are just curious. Sometimes people just generally want to get to know you. But it's up to you, the person, to decide whether you want to share or disclose that information. So most conversations are surrounded with topics about being heterosexual. It's like the default discussion. However, it's important for people who identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, or queer to be mindful that they are not heterosexual, and to ensure that you are staying in tune and in touch with yourself daily, because you can get caught up in your surroundings of always trying to fit in and conform to the heteronormative standard. In other words, you can lose yourself, and it's important for you to be mindful of who you are at all times. Does this mean that you have to go around announcing to everyone that you're gay or lesbian? No, you don't. I don't even do that. I'm pretty much a chill person. I I'm observant. Many people consider me as either quiet or just very peaceful, tranquil. And they have a word for it. They call it introverted, and that's my personality. I definitely don't go out telling the world, "Hey, world, I'm a lesbian." And it's not because I'm ashamed of who I am. It's just depending on the circumstance you're in, you don't need to necessarily announce that you're gay or lesbian. Now, in my profession, I am a gay life coach, and I'm an author, I'm an entrepreneur. And in my position, I often reveal that I am a lesbian only because I'm in a position to be able to coach and mentor people, and I coach same gender loving people. So automatically they are interested in knowing how I identify, and the general public. But that's the exception. Anyone else, depending on their circumstances, is it determines whether or not they reveal if they're gay or lesbian. But I just want anyone who goes through life and experiences erasure, lesbian erasure, lesbian erasure, gay erasure. I just want you to understand that you don't have to wait on someone else to acknowledge you. You don't have to wait on someone else to bring up a conversation that you can relate to, because in most cases they're not. They're not going to automatically know that you're gay or lesbian. There are some exceptions to the rule in that category. Some people are very outspoken about being gay or lesbian, and people already know it. However, there are people who you have no idea who are gay or lesbian. But it's just be careful not to get away from yourself in the sense that you feel like it's safer or easier to just fit in with heterosexual people, because you start to move away from representation of yourself. You start to get involved in the culture that heterosexual people relate to. And for example, you may only watch movies that involve heterosexual couples. You never watch movies that have gay, lesbian, or LGBTQ representation. And you find yourself always speaking about the perspective of heterosexuality. And that gets you caught up in the heterosexual norm. But it's important for us to have conversations that we can relate to, conversations that we're interested in, and be able to process who we are to avoid being lost in the sauce. When you are in a world that's dominated by heterosexual people, your family is heterosexual, your coworkers are heterosexual, you may even have friends who are heterosexual, and you rarely associate with anyone who identifies as gay, lesbian, or LGBTQ. I encourage you to evaluate, why is that? And also ask yourself, would I like to be around people who identify as gay, lesbian, or LGBTQ? Why or why not? And ask yourself, why do you fit in so well with heterosexual people? If you are fitting in with heterosexual people, but not fitting in with gay, lesbian, bisexual, or LGBTQ people, that needs to be analyzed. And the reason why is because whether you consciously know it or not, you're not able to associate with gay, lesbian, or LGBTQ culture and identity because you have not allowed yourself to, or maybe something occurred that prevented you from doing so. Maybe you're in an environment where there's not many LGBTQ people. So, what can you do to be able to get in those environments? What can you do to be able to contribute to gay, lesbian, LGBTQ causes and be involved in events? You don't have to go to a gay club. You don't have to go to a gay party to say, oh, I know now what gay and lesbian people are like. No, we are actually more diverse and well rounded than that. But just contemplate what I'm saying, consider what I'm saying, and immerse yourself in learning more about the history of gay, lesbian, and LGBTQ people. Because we exist in this world, we have made wonderful contributions. We are great assets and innovators, and we are leaders, and we need to be celebrated. We need to be remembered. We need to be acknowledged, and we need representation. And I do that here on my channel because I like to acknowledge myself and I like to acknowledge other gay, lesbian, and LGBTQ people. I'm very proud of who I am, and I encourage you to take time to tap into your identity, because your sexual orientation is your identity. And it's fine if you can relate to heterosexual people. I'm not saying that that is not a reality or that should not occur. But if you're totally eliminating yourself from gay, lesbian, or LGBTQ people, then that can be an issue. And it also can interfere with you developing relationships and friendships with people of the same sex. And people can pick up on your energy if they feel like you don't feel comfortable with yourself, or if you don't feel comfortable around other people who identify as gay, lesbian, or LGBTQ. So it's all about self acknowledgement, it's about identity, it's about self awareness. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share my content. And if you want to comment below, please do so. I am a certified life coach and author. If you would like a one-on-one life coaching session with me, you can reach out to me. All of my contact information is here on YouTube in the description box. I'm also available to be contacted through my website, www.GiselleAWallace.com. Have a beautiful day. Until next time, thank you for listening.